The home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads.
Well. It's another episode of the Outlaw of College Football, and it's here. It's finally here. And Matt Bingham, one of our loyal listeners, has asked me to bring back the song of the day. And the song of the day today is The Final Countdown by Europe. That's right. It is here. The final countdown is here, the week of the Texas game. Last year's game was awfully close, that close to being a huge upset by Steve Sarkisian and the Texas Longhorns, with Alabama winning on a last-second field goal, 20-19. Will the Texas Longhorns have their Rocky II moment, or will it be reality like the LSU Tigers got from Florida State? Let's talk about it. Woo! It's finally here. It's finally here. The Alabama versus Texas game from last year. The thrilling finish of 20-19, last second field goal by Alabama. It's finally here. The final countdown is upon us, as I said in the lead up. We ain't but 2 days out from Alabama and Texas renewing what's going to be a regular rivalry starting next year, as these two teams both are going to be in the same conference. They're all here. ESPN Game Day. I saw them coming in the other day here in Tuscaloosa. Lee Corso's here, at least in body. I'm not sure if he's here in mind anymore. But they're all here, and it's upon us. But before we get to all that, I would like to say this is the Outlaw of College Football, and here they come once again. It's the Outlaw Posse, now in effect. In today's random four horsemen shout-outs go to Marty King, Eric Taco Marino, Sheldon Lamy, and Tim Gillespie are mounted up. They're saddled up. They're ready to go help me with this college football invasion. They got their badge. They've been deputized a long time ago. And if you want your four horsemen shout out and you want to get your badge and get deputized, it's now a $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. It's a little join button, next subscribe button. If you're on an Apple phone, you may have to go to your laptop or computer to do it because it doesn't mesh with YouTube memberships. Now, the deputy badge input of the day goes to, see what we got here. Hank, 69, says Kelly needs to get a job at Florida Atlantic and continue his quest to be irrelevant. Speaking of Brian Kelly, I agree wholeheartedly, Hank, and that is the deputy badge input comment of the day. Now, getting right to it here. Seems like Texas fans are getting a little antsy. They're ready. At least they think they're ready. They think they're ready to step up to the big time in the SEC. That's not really fair of me to say. The Big 12 is not small potatoes by any means. As a matter of fact, I would say the Big 12 is vastly becoming probably the third best conference in the nation as far as power stroke goes, behind the Big 10 and the SEC. And who knows, down the road, they could become more of a power player. And that's the way I think it's going to end up being eventually. Is going to have three Power 3 conferences. But that's another topic for another day. Alabama and Texas both had games last week against inferior opponents. Texas played Rice. I got the stats here for the Texas-Rice game. Texas had 300 passing yards and 158 rushing yards for an overall total of 458 yards of total offense. Rice had 149 passing and 27 rushing for 176 total yards. Quinn Ewers was 19 of 30 for 260 yards and 3 touchdowns. Meanwhile, their running backs, Jay Blue, had 10 attempts for 55 yards, and Brooks had 12 attempts for 52 yards. The leading receivers was Worthy with 7 receptions, 90 yards, and Sanders had 6 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown. Alabama versus Middle Tennessee State. Jalen Milroe was 13 of 18 for 194 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jalen Milroe was also the leading rusher for Alabama with 7 attempts for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. He becomes the first Alabama player ever to pass for 3 touchdowns and rush for 2 touchdowns in the same game. The leading rusher for Alabama was Jace McKellen with 10 attempts, 39 yards, and a touchdown. Leading receivers were Isaiah Bond, 5 receptions, 76 yards, and a touchdown, and Jermaine Burton with 3 receptions, 62 yards, and a touchdown. So as you can see, both these teams had it spread out a lot, which is what you could expect from them playing 2 very inferior opponents. They didn't really want to show their hands to either one. The Rice game was a little bit closer than I anticipated with Texas. The only thing I can attribute that to is that, just like I said, they may not want to show too much for Alabama. But at the same time, to me, I think Bijan Robinson not being there for Quinn Ewers this year may be a bigger deal than what many people thought it would be. They had decent rushing yardage, and it was spread out a little bit for Texas as well. So it's hard to really gauge anything from these 2 games that these 2 teams played to get a real accurate prediction. Although I will say, and I'm not saying this because I'm an Alabama fan, Jalen Milroe looked a lot better than I thought he would. He really done a lot better than I thought it would. I know it was Middle Tennessee State, but I still didn't expect him to be able to throw 2 long, deep balls on a dime like he did against Middle Tennessee State. A lot of people are very dismissive of Middle Tennessee State because of all the directional stuff in their name. But they actually upset a middle-of-the-road Power 5 school in Miami last year. So it's not like they are chopped liver as far as the lower rung goes in big-time college football. So what I'd like to ask you guys and gals going forward is, what do you guys and gals think? Y'all think that Texas is going to have their Rocky II moment? And a lot of people think that because the game was played close last year, that automatically means that Texas gets their share at the win column now. And that's not the way it works out. This ain't the movies. This ain't Rocky II. And like I said numerous times, in real life, we all know Rocky II would have never had Rocky III because Rocky would have never beat Apollo Creed in any boxing match in real life, in my opinion. But I don't think that – I want to say that Alabama's going to win this game, and it's not going to be as close as last year, even though we don't have Bryce Young or any of those other stars. Sometimes the team can be overloaded with stars. Good case in point with that, in my defense, is the fact that Tennessee, as you know, their last national championship that the Tennessee Volunteers won was in 1998, and that was with T. Martin as starting quarterback. They'd had Peyton Manning for 4 years and could not win one national championship. They come close, but they never got the job done. Peyton Manning leaves, a lot of stars leave. People have to start being more of a team player, more teamwork involved. And sometimes you see that a lot. And with Alabama's case, with Jalen Milroe, so far so good. Just Middle Tennessee State. This is his home state. Also, another interesting fact that a lot of people might know, I got it wrote down here somewhere. Yeah, Texas. I knew this had been a long time because, Alabama and Texas really hadn't played that much before these last 2 matchups in this century when they played Texas back in 2009 for the national championship, and then last year they hadn't played since 1982. And up to that point, Alabama had never beat Texas. Up until 2009, Alabama was 0-7-1 against Texas. But Texas has not been to Tuscaloosa. Can y'all guess how long it's been? 1902. I've been going around telling everybody here on campus when I'm doing my little side Ubering job. I've been telling them it's been 1912, 1915. It's a lot longer than that. 1902. Y'all realize what was going on in 1902 when Texas come to town? Alabama didn't even have Bryant-Denny Stadium. From what I read in the history books, Alabama used to play their home games on the quad out there where Danny Chimes is at, with makeshift bleacher seats. I think maybe there was 1,500 or 2,000 people at the game, and that was considered a hard sellout. So it's been a long time since the Texas Longhorns have tried to come up in here and hook 'em horns Speaking of which, the Hook'em Horns thing. I hate to keep touching on that, but there's going to be a lot of horns down at this game. So you Texas fans, if that really bothers you, just go ahead and prepare yourself to see that a lot, because it's going to happen, and there ain't going to be a penalty for it. They may throw a penalty or a flag on a player if they do it, which is bogus to me. They can throw a penalty or a flag on a player for throwing horns down if they throw a flag on a Texas player for throwing horns up. But now that we got that little bit of history out of the way, let's go back to the prediction of this game. What do y'all think it's going to be? Y'all drop in the comment section. Let me know. I'd like to see where the Common Joe and Common Sally fall on this, whether they're accurate or not. And I've been going back and forth myself. I've almost predicted Texas to pull the upset a few times. Then I just got to thinking about how Bijan Robinson's no longer part of the team, and how Texas, even though they were just playing Rice and they may not be trying to show anything, it was still a little too close for me. And I think that not having Bijan Robinson may be a big factor in this game, especially early on. They don't have their feet wet in the rushing game. Everybody's worried about Alabama not having their feet wet in the passing game. But it might be Texas that's having some issues on that offensive side of the ball after all. Now, one caveat in favor of Texas is Alabama's defensive backs are a little banged up. Jalen Key got banged up. He had an interception last week. He's a transfer from UAB. And Malachi Moore are both day-to-day. That could be a big contributing factor to Texas pulling the upset in this game. If those two DBs play and they're decent and they're able to go, I think that Alabama once again pull this off. If those DBs are banged up, we could see an entirely different result. We could see Texas win this game by anywhere from 7 to 14 points. But I'm going with what I've been hearing, and that's their day-to-day, and that they probably will play. Alabama have a slight edge in the running game that will decide this. Everybody thinks the passing game is going to decide. I think it's going to be the running game that decides this. And in the end, I think Alabama will score a couple of times in the fourth quarter to pull away from Texas in this game. I'm going to say Alabama 34 and Texas 23. And that's my prediction for this football game. You guys and gals, like I said before, drop in the comment section and tell me what you think. Also, there's a little heart down here with a little $sign in the middle. Hit that. Throw a few dollars in the coffee for a one-time donation if you want to. Also, as I said earlier, if you want to get your badge, get deputized, get your Four Horsemen shout-out, and possibly be singled out as the deputy input of the day, you can get your badge and get your random Four Horsemen shout-out for just $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. So join button, next subscribe button, just hit that. You'll be mounted up. You'll be deputized and got your badge. Also, I have a Cash App that I'm going to throw in the description of this video, a link to that. It's $JPC316. And with that, I'm out of here. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this video. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.